Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, or welcome if you're new to my channel. Either way, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, it would really help me out. Plus, it'll help you out because you won't miss any great horror content that I have on my channel. So, with that being said, we are in April now, so we're going to get back into my 1980s horror movie series, specifically 1981. If you've been following my channel, you know that the month of January and February I covered 1981 horror movies. Then I took a break for March with the Leprechaun franchise. Now we're back into it for April and the first half of May. Yes, there's a lot of horror movies from 1981. And of course, that's not even counting the ones that I've already watched and reviewed on my channel in previous series. So my top 20 for 1981 in the middle of May is going to be interesting. But anyway, the movie we're going to take a look at today from 1981 is a slasher movie. Not surprising because there was a lot of slashers in 1981. It's a movie I've never seen before that I have for my standard DVD collection, and that movie is Night Night School from 1981 right here. A is for apple, B is for bad, C is for co-ed, D is for dad, F is for failing to keep your head. That's kind of clever, I think. But yeah, Night School. So let's just go ahead and get into it here. So, Night School, also known as Terrorize in the United Kingdom, is a 1981 American slasher film directed by Ken Hughes. I believe it was the last film he ever directed, and starring Rachel Ward in her film debut, Leonard Mann and Drew Snyder. The plot revolves around a series of brutal murders in Boston, Massachusetts. Alfred Soule was the film's original director, but he passed on the project. Hughes was ultimately brought in to direct, and Night School was his final film. There we go. So basically, the movie opens. We're introduced to Anne Barron, who's a teacher's aide at a Boston daycare center. One evening, she's relaxing on the playground carousel when someone pulls up on a motorcycle wearing a black motorcycle helmet. She is startled at the stranger pulls out a. She is startled as the stranger pulls out a kukri. I think it's kukri, which is kind of like an opposite shaped machete, if you will. It curves differently, and starts spinning the carousel. The terrified Anne goes around until the kukri hits her. Lieutenant Judd Austin is the policeman assigned to the case. Obviously, it hits her and decapitates her. I think I cut that off in my notes. Um, Lieutenant Judd Austin is the policeman assigned to the case. As he gets to the scene, he sees the girl decapitated with her head in a nearby bucket of water. At Wendell, the administrator, Helene Griffin, tells Judd that Anne was close to a girl named Kim Morrison. When asked if Anne had a boyfriend, Kim tells Judd that Anne was involved with someone, but she doesn't know who. Judd enters Professor Millett's anthropology class to speak with him about Anne. The professor doesn't provide much information, but introduces Judd to an exchange student named Eleanor Adjay. Eleanor leaves the school and goes to the local diner. There, she is creeped out by Gary, the busboy, who appears to have mental issues. The waitress, Carol, asks Eleanor if she's in Millet's class and implies that he sleeps around, irritating Eleanor, and she leaves. Gary follows her home. When she realizes this, she runs the rest of the way and quickly locks her door. So yeah, that's kind of the setup, the premise of Night School. As far as the cast goes, we have Rachel Ward as Eleanor Ajay, Leonard Mann as Lieutenant Judd Austin, Drew Snyder as Vincent Millet, Joseph R. Sakari as Taj, Annette Miller as Helene Griffin, and Bill McCann as Gary. So yeah, that's the setup, the premise, and the cast for the 1981 slasher movie Night School. Um, I enjoyed this movie for the most part. I think it's a solid slasher, not a great slasher, not like a top tier slasher, but I think it's a solid slasher. So let's just go ahead and get into why here in my pros. By the way, I mentioned Wendell. I cut off some of my notes because I just didn't have room and I didn't want to print 2 pages. So Wendell was an all girls college that Millet was a professor at, in case you're wondering. So anyway, as far as the pros go, I really enjoyed the whodunit aspect of, everything that goes with that, from the red herrings to the mystery aspect of it. Why a decapitated head in a bucket of water. The killer twist, which I did not see coming. I know other people in other reviews I watched for this movie said, "Oh, I knew right away." I didn't. I mean, maybe they did, maybe I should have, I don't know, but maybe I haven't watched enough slashers. But I totally didn't see the killer coming, so that twist worked for me. But I thought it was overall well done from that whodunit standpoint. I really enjoy those kind of movies when they're done well. And this one was, I thought. I also like the sort of 70s cop thriller aesthetic that we get with this movie, giving the movie, I think, really good overall atmosphere with some giallo vibes going on. Of course, you've got the all black, you got the killer in the black motorcycle helmet and the all black suit or leather, whatever it is, with the black gloves. Very giallo esque, along with some of the creeping vibes that go around when the killer is approaching somebody. Also, there's a callback to a certain shower scene in a certain famous movie that preceded this one by about 20 years. That was clearly a nod to Psycho, and I thought it was very well done. That turned out to be kind of a weird scene, but it was a good scene. It was an interesting scene in this movie that I really liked. So yeah, the movie had some different elements that really worked for me and I really liked. I think the movie overall is well paced and well directed, with spaced out kills and a cool looking weapon used, that kukri, which I like I said, it's a machete, but it's angled the other way, it's curved the other way. So I'm not exactly sure. I didn't do my research. I don't know where it comes from, but I thought it looked cool, and it got the job done, obviously, for the killer. So that was cool. Yeah, I said like a curved machete knife like weapon, but yeah, I thought that was an interesting, unique weapon. And then, like I said, I like the look of the killer as well, and the sort of giallo get up, the all black with the black helmet, so you can't see who it is. It's not overly unique, but I thought it was effective for this movie. I think the performances by the leads here are good, especially Rachel Ward and Leonard Mann. I mean, Rachel Ward, for this being her first movie, you could tell why. I mean, she did a lot around that time. I know her best from The Thornbirds, which is kind of opposite horror. Um, well, yeah, it's not horror. That's a mini series that my parents were basically obsessed with while I was growing up, and she's obviously a big part in that. But she was in a lot of other things too during the '80s, and for this to be her first movie, I thought she did a great job, frankly. And Leonard Mann, I thought did well in this movie too. Not all the performances are great. The guy that played Taj, the lieutenant's partner, I didn't think he was sort of the comic relief. I didn't necessarily think he was great, but and then some of the young women, like the side characters, were just they were serviceable at best. But the main characters were well performed. I think the movie does a good job of having developed character relationships in this movie and allows us to get to know some backstory here. You know, you get the kill in the first scene, and then we're introduced to our characters basically in the setup and everything. And I thought that was developed well, especially for a slasher movie from this time where you don't necessarily get a lot of that. It's just like, hey, here's some people. One of them's a killer, basically, and everybody else is going to get picked off one by one. In this movie, there's a little bit more meat on the bone, I felt like, from that standpoint. So, yeah, I like that. I like that they took the time to set up those relationships and the characters' backstory without taking away, it's not like you have to go an hour without a kill. They still sprinkle the kills in pretty well paced out, I thought, spaced out. So that was good. The story here, I think, is interesting with the anthropology professor who sleeps around with his female students, and then the connection to these tribal rituals of head hunting. It all sort of plays in, and it all sort of plays in well to this whodunit aspect. It's kind of a unique idea, again, especially for a slasher film during this time. I'm not going to say they reinvent the wheel or it's some sort of Oscar-worthy storyline or anything, but for a 1981 slasher, I was into it. I thought it was interesting. And then my final pro, well, not my final one, but I liked the opening kill on the playground carousel. I thought that was very cool, where the killer spins this gal around on one of those playground carousels. If you've ever been in a playground, especially like in the '70s and '80s, they're a little different now in 2025. But those old metal carousels, and you have like the metal bars to hang on to. The killer spun this around, and then there's like using this Kirky to eventually, of course, decapitates this person. but he kind of lets it go around a few times just to put fear into this person. I thought that was very well done. Probably one of the best scenes of the movie. Probably my favorite kill of the movie, actually. So that was good, and I also enjoyed the score of this movie. It's got kind of a anxiety-inducing beat going on that I thought was very well done as well for this movie. So yeah, a lot of pros for Night School for me. As far as cons go, the ending is the big thing for me here. I wasn't a big fan of the ending, the very, very end, and also the ending before that. So it's kind of a letdown to me. I don't know, given the setup and how well the who done it nature leading up to the end was. The ending just kind of left me unsatisfied and kind of let down a little bit. I mean, I don't want to give too much away here, but there's the killer reveal twist, and then there's kind of another twist that happens at the end. That twist I saw coming, the second one, as far as there's a police chase and um, yeah, I don't want to give too much away, so I'm going to leave it at that. But that part of the twist I saw coming, and it just kind of left me unsatisfied. And it's like I kind of get it, but I don't really like it. I wish they would have went in another direction. And then the very very end, it has this fake scare that I could have really done without. It kind of, I don't want to say it kills the movie, but it doesn't help it. It hurts it more than it helps it. Where there's kind of a fake out scare, and then the, the by I don't want to give too much away again, but basically these two people laugh over it once it's done. It's like six women have been murdered, and even though the case is closed, is it really closed? And they're sitting there laughing about it. I mean, I guess in a way, with everything that's gone on, you have to relieve some tension. But I don't know. That just felt weird and out of place, and I don't really think it adds much to the movie. In fact, I think it takes away a little bit from the seriousness of what was going on. So that was weird, and I didn't really like it. Um, there's a lot of these kills are decapitation kills, of course, and that plays into the overall narrative and twist of this movie. I believe every single kill is there's a head in a bucket of water or some sort of enclosure of water, which was interesting. But the kills themselves, they don't really show much. They're all cutaway decapitation kills. And then there's one where we don't see much, but it's like a slow motion Kirky to the neck three times in slow motion. And the problem with that is obviously you don't actually see the decapitation, but they don't even show any like blood. I mean, if they would have at least shown slashes in the neck, I could have bought it a little bit more. But they would have been better off doing what they did with the other decapitation kills, which is just cutting away. So that's a little disappointing. I mean, this isn't of all the slasher movies in terms of the kills and showing it and showing the gore on screen. You do see decapitated heads a little bit. There is some blood and slashes throughout the movie with some of the kills, but I mean it's not an overly gory movie. I guess if you want to say it's a little bit more of a classy slasher from the 80s, if that's a term for it. Uh, it does have a little bit of sleaze in it, a little bit of nudity in the shower scene. Um, but it's not that kind of like Friday the 13th showing a lot of gore. And as I said, the kills are cutaways, even though they are decapitations. That has to be why it was considered a video nasty. Because I don't know why else this movie would be on the video nasty list. I'm sure it was the decapitation aspect to it. But yeah, there's really not much to see. If you're going into this movie expecting a lot of gore and on screen kills, you might be a little disappointed there. And then my last con, which is kind of a small one, but I thought they pushed one red herring a little too much that I knew right away was not going to be the killer. And a lot of these movies tended to do that, where they give you they try to make it too obvious, and the personality of this character is too obvious to know that if you've seen any of these, you know that's not the killer, so you can rule that person out right away. And this movie kept pushing that throughout the movie, and it's like I understand you're trying to distract us and keep our attention away, but a lot of us figured that out already. So you're kind of wasting your time. So, but yeah, there's one particular red herring that I thought and if you've seen the movie, you know who I'm talking about, a certain busboy. Um, but yeah, I thought that was pushed a little too much. But other than that, guys, I mean, this was an enjoyable slasher for me. I really like Rachel Ward. I thought, like I said, for her film debut and also the last directorial movie by the director, I thought it was very well done. It's not the best slasher movie from that time period, But I'm glad to have it in my collection. I don't know that I'll upgrade this from to the Blu-ray because, from what I've heard, there's not really any more. There's not really any special features on here, and there's not really any special features on the Blu-ray either. It might look a little better and sound a little better. I don't know. Somebody can comment down below if it's worth it with the transfer and everything. But I think for now, I'm happy to keep this on DVD. But I am glad to have this in my collection. And overall, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 as far as the slasher rating goes. It's solid. I'm glad to have it in my collection. It's not going to make any top 10 lists, but it's a solid whodunit slasher with some good performances, some good directing, um, and a twist that I didn't see coming as far as the killer goes. So 7.5 out of 10 for Night School. Go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of Night School if you've seen it from 1981. Not the 2016 one. That's a different Night School, a comedy. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel, as I mentioned earlier, so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews for this 1980s horror series. I've still got 18 movies to go between the rest of April and into May here. So that's just for 1981. So stay tuned for that. But with that being said, thank you for watching. And as always, stay scared. Bye.